Hello, and welcome back to Brewhammer, the internet's home for all homebrew Warhammer 40k detachments, characters, and units. Today we're going over a character that I sort of invented because I had an idea, Confistium. He's a World Eater's character who doesn't exactly play by the normal Khorne rules, and we'll get to that later. Just to remind people how things work on this channel, we rate things by the three F's: how fun it is, how fair it is, and how flavorful it is. These custom rules will be rated on each of these and given a score out of 5 at the end of the video. So Confistium is a World Eater's Terminator character. He has a movement of 7 inches, toughness of 5, and a 2-up save with a 4-up invuln. Pretty standard as far as Terminators go. 5 wounds, 6 leadership, and 1 OC. So, relatively tanky, but will die if caught out in the open. However, that shouldn't be a problem too much of the time, as we'll see in a minute. We'll look at his ranged weapons here first. He has Bastille. So as you can see, I've done a little mock-up of what he might look like. We can go back and see what he looked like. Nice and big there. He's got a melt-a-gun on the end of a hammer, which is represented here. So it's got precision and Melta 2. 12-inch range, 1 attack, hitting on 3s because he's World Eaters and they don't like to aim. 10 strength, 4 AP, and d6 plus 1 damage. So this is basically just a precision Melta gun with 1 more strength. Pretty powerful if you ask me. Could pick off characters relatively easily. Then we have his melee weapons. Screecher and Bastille, strike, has twin linked, melee range only, 3 attacks, hitting on 2s, strength 8, 2 AP, and 3 damage. Now this might seem a little weak for a World Eater's strike profile, but we'll see why in a minute. Then we have the sweep, which is also meant to be twin linked, with a melee range only, 8 attacks, hits on 2s, 5 strength, 1 AP, 1 damage. Probably won't be using this one too much, but we'll see later on. Now, the key thing that sets Confistium apart from all other World Eaters characters is right down here. He's a Psyker. Now, if you know anything about World Eaters lore, they don't really have Psykers. But I was looking into it, and I remember reading somewhere that Khorne only doesn't like Psykers because they don't use blood when they kill things. They sort of explode into viscera and they're considered cowardly. But I realized, what if there was a Psyker in Khorne? How would he use his powers? And that brings us to our abilities. So we have Deep Strike and Lone Operative, 2 very powerful abilities, and obviously Blessings of Khorne. And then we get to his unique ability, Trial by Blood. This is a psychic ability. At the start of your charge phase, you may target one character model within 12 inches of and visible to this model. Roll a d6. On a 1 to 3, this model takes d3 mortal wounds. On a 4 to 6, place this model and the target in a cage match. Remove them from the game and put them in a boxing ring with their same wounds and war gear 12 inches away from each other. Turns progress as normal within the cage. When either model is destroyed, return the other to the battlefield with full wounds remaining. If they were leading a unit, they may return to that unit. Otherwise, set them up as close to where they were removed as possible. If Confistium wins, he may choose 1 Blessing of Khorne to be active for him for the rest of the battle. Designer's note, the boxing ring is a 16 by 16 square with no terrain, which would probably look, well, maybe a little more professional than this. Now, this is a very powerful ability. There's not a lot that could match Confistium in one-on-one melee combat. Against something like Guard, this could easily take out 2 characters a turn if he gets that precision Melta shot off with Deep Strike. The only problem being, you might have to waste a turn in the cage because you start 12 inches away from each other. Still a very, very powerful ability. So obviously, he's meant to be a character picker. But with Deep Strike and Lone Operative and 110 points price tag, he could also be used for scoring, although not always what you'd want to be doing with him. I think the power of Confistium comes with his versatility. Obviously, you can have him pick characters in armies where it matters a lot, like Necrons or Guard. But he can also be used to score objectives on against armies that don't necessarily have characters that you need to pick off, like Tau. And I think even though he's a little pricey, that diversity is going to be his strength. But let's compare him to some alternative options. So, an alternative for character killing is the Master of Executions. We love and know this model, not as powerful as it used to be in the Index, but now it still has quite a lot of things going for it. So, 8-inch move, T4, 3 up save, 4 wounds, 6 leadership, and 1 OC, but this doesn't matter too much as he's going to be leading most of the time. Bolt pistol, whatever, doesn't matter. Acts of Dismemberment, 5 attacks, 2 up weapon skill, 6 strength, 2 AP, 2 damage, devastating wounds, and precision. He has an ability that goes with the Khorne Berserkers, allows them to move a little further, more consistently, and he can reroll hit and wound rolls against a character unit, and each time he destroys a character model, he gains 1 CP. So, looking strictly at his ability to deal damage to characters, he is better, and he is also cheaper. The problem comes in with he needs to be leading a unit because he doesn't have Lone Operative or Deep Strike. So there's no way that he can get into melee realistically without a bodyguard unit to protect him. He does obviously have his Forwards for Blood ability to help with that, but you're investing more for this character, and it can't do sneaky things like Deep Strike in a corner that someone thought might be safe and then take out Lord Solar Leontis or take out, I don't know what a good Necron's character is. But maybe that's what you need. You need someone that's cheap and can attach, and this guy also has the upside of being able to take an enhancement, which is something that Confistium cannot do, and he also can't use that enhancement to buff a unit. So maybe you need this, but it's going to be a choice either way, because again, you're giving up that diversity. Speaking of the diversity, suppose you want a scoring unit with Deep Strike. The closest thing I could find that's available in every detachment, as obviously you can take the Flesh Hounds in the Demons detachment, is the Demon Prince of Khorne with wings. This thing has Deep Strike, as we can see here, and it does pack quite a punch. Now, it is a little pricey at 180, but let's go into the stats. 14-inch move, so he can help a lot with running around the field doing objectives. T9, 2 up save, 4 up invuln, 10 wounds, 6 up leadership, and 3 OC. Might help flip an objective a little more than Confistium, who, if you remember, only had 1. Ranged weapons, Infernal Cannon, and then he has Hellforged weapons, which are shockingly similar in terms of profile to Confistium, just with far more attacks. He has a Battle Shock ability at the start of the fight phase, which can help flip objectives with his 3 OC. And he has Swooping Predator, which allows him to deal damage even if he's moving around the field. Now, the downside of this is that he's 180 points, and Confistium's only 110. They do both have Deep Strike, and the Demon Prince of Khorne with wings will be able to take a little bit of damage with a 4-up invuln and a 2-up save, just like Confistium, but with T9 and 10 wounds, and that 14-inch move will help him get around a lot more. So, a Demon Prince of Khorne would probably be better for primary, whereas Confistium would be better for doing secondaries like behind enemy lines and engage on all fronts, although both could be used for either in a pinch. So, overall, what do I think of Confistium? Well, let's rate him on the 3 Fs. How fun it is. I've rated it a 3 out of 5 here. Now, that might seem a little low, but the problem with Confistium is you have to bring around Cage even if you don't plan on using it. And as cool as the cage is, it'll probably get a little annoying after a while. However, he is very fun to use, I would imagine, as you can deep strike him in anywhere, and it's really hard to catch him, as he has Lone Operative. How fair is he? 3 out of 5. We looked at some comparison data sheets, and nothing he does seems too powerful. He doesn't gain the CP like the Master of Executions does, and he's not quite as good at scoring as the Demon Prince of Corn is. He does have the versatility, but I don't think it's too much. He does seem somewhat unfair if you use him against a very powerful unit like Lord Solar, which could totally destroy an army. But obviously, there's going to be counters to strategies that arise. And I think he deserves a 3 out of 5. How flavorful he is? 5 out of 5. I think having a World Eater's Psyker that transports people to a bloody cage match where he beats them up with his fists is probably as flavorful as it can get. And if we go back and look at the photo, he definitely sells that intimidating World Eater's look. Also, if you couldn't tell, this is Bastille and this is Screecher. Anyway, that is Confistium's datasheet. Feel free to let me know what you think of it in the comments, and let me know if you have a character you would want to see me design, or if you have character rules you've designed, and I'll review them here on the channel. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.